So, welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot. Now you can see our faces, so you probably are going to watch not at all.
Yeah, we apologize in advance for this.
For the tens of people that we're attracting with this.
10 people? That's too much of an
home.
audience. We should probably stop while we're ahead.
Riley, you need to try that again, but use your strong rock voice.
I don't have one of those.
Do any of us have voices right now?
No. No, we had to cheer for an own goal yesterday. So
Yeah,
what
happened
an
right in
own
front
goal
of
that
Lucas
was.
and I.
By the way, we need to come up with a better cheer when own goal scores, because there was a lot of confusion over how we were doing that.
I don't
we
know.
tried
I
to
was
do it
just
like a name.
complimenting.
Yeah.
I was complimenting number 4 on their side very, very heavily.
I mean,
But-
I thought it's all credit from the, one thing that Ryan and I noticed was just how far away the other end was, in a way that, the berm to section 119 is not quite as far. Like we thought maybe even Rashid was struggling to see what was happening.
Well, to get this started, I'm Luke. I've got Ryan. Ryan's immediately to my right. I think that's my right, or is that my left on this? I don't know. One of them. And then we got Ben. And down on bottom, we've got Camille and Reverend Dr. Super Producer.
It's gonna be so funny when he goes into his meeting in the morning.
Yeah,
I'll screen
real
cap
smart to
it,
change.
'cause I think our first meeting are together.
Well, it is, so it'll be fine. It's just you.
But how's everybody feeling tonight? We started the season, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Other
I'm
teams
tired.
have played league games.
Yeah.
We have not played a league game yet.
That's
Happy soccer's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy the US Open Cup is back. This is the first time I've ever really watched it, like being aware of what teams and leagues are.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually caring about it because it kind of matters for lower division soccer.
Yeah. And I'm
For
actually
sure.
now watching the captain of Hailstorm get a red card, which, we had to pause the podcast 30 minutes so Luke wouldn't just be smug the whole time about it.
Who is their captain?
Ivan Para?
Huh.
I think
Yeah.
we'd call him Ivan the Elbow based on his play in
Ooh.
this game.
Ooh. Can we call him Crazy Ivan?
Yeah, I think it's Irvin, but we should definitely mispronounce it on purpose.
Ivan the
okay.
Impaler.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a little Hunt for Red October in there.
Yeah, no, I understood exactly what you do. I understood exactly. That's a classic Maine film.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean,
The two
Or
youngins
that's
had no
anyone
idea.
who's made it to this point in their life and not seen Hunt for the Red October. We've just
Camille,
took
really?
the last scene of the movie for you.
What's
but
up?
Look at Camille. She's like,
No,
August,
I've
I
never
like
seen
this.
it, but I know
Young
a
Alec
reference from a
Baldwin.
podcast. I
great.
know a reference from another podcast. That would be the Shunt for Red October. Do you know that one?
no, but I did learn that apparently people thought at the time of that movie that there was rabbit farming in Montana.
Oh man.
What?
This is once again Ben, Ryan, and Luke talk pulp culture from when they were young. And Camille and Riley
smiles and nods.
just look confused.
I just go along with it.
I'm just happy to be
It's
here.
better that way.
So we've got some news. We actually have news this time, other than we played in the US Open Cup,
We'll get to that.
but we have a new re-signing with Emir
Skin of our
Alhaji.
teeth. Skin of our teeth.
Yeah. I think we've all been calling for that re-signing since the last game of last season,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and very happy to see him back. Got the start yesterday in the Open Cup in a very different position than what he's used to playing.
Proving he's the Swiss Army knife. Starting
Yeah.
it right back.
Yeah.
Did he play right back in the friendly in 2021 when he was a try?
I think there was a game where he did play. Hasn't been for a while.
Well, as Jay told us before last season, 2021 season, he is a very versatile player and clearly showed that yesterday. Made some great plays out there. But I'm going to talk about something it's a rumor. But the rumor is we have a new forward signing for the team. Kamal Malcolm.
Didn't we start that rumor? Weren't we the first ones to talk about this?
I think specifically Ben started this rumor.
Ben did start this rumor because of his Instagram story being watched.
Yeah, he's following my Instagram story, and I recognize the name from 2020 conversations. Yeah.
Kamal apparently in was it the Apertura in El Salvador?
I don't follow that league super closely.
Anyways, over 20 goals in I think it was 34 games, but very good kind of answering the question we've all had of where the goal is going to come from. Seems like he would be a great candidate for that.
Question louder
Premier
than
division
after last night.
Sorry?
Let's not worry about it. I was just saying a question that's louder than ever after last night.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It seems like we are very well organized for set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
JP with a beautiful header. No, kind of set that well. But to wrap out news before we break into the fun bit, we still don't have the name of the mascot.
You mean Tuesday?
Al Pacino?
Al Pacino.
Yes, it is forever going to be Al Pacino for us, except Ben, who's Camp Tuesday.
I mean, I'm fine with.
Do we just make a pod mascot and call it Al Pacino and just assume it's the club mascot?
Yes.
Are we
Yes.
just gonna go with this guy and say
That looks like
That's
an
him.
Al Pacino to me.
With the headphones, Al Pacino to a T.
yeah? I mean, he's got that energy.
You broke my heart, Fredo.
I'll see you, Riley. I will say that according to Transfer Market, Amir last played right back in a competitive match on the 11th of August, 2017, for St.
For
Louis
Wow.
against Roughnecks FC.
Well, there you go.
I mean, you have to give it to him. Just coming straight into a game at right back, that clearly he's not as familiar playing in. I mean, I don't know how much he's practiced in that position even, so
Yeah.
I'll give it to him.
Who is our normal right back? Supposed to be
Isaac Bawa, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this was clearly what Luke said, which was don't throw out all your starters when you have a game on Saturday that's a league game. I mean,
Yeah. Well, let's talk through the lineup that we put out there against Des Moines Menace. We obviously started Rashid in goal. Him in goal is just kind of, it's been 3 seasons. You're just expecting it there. Kevin would have been a great addition in there, but with a game that you need to win, to lose and fall out, win, move on. We needed that. Throwing Rashid there. Touche and Dalton center backs. As we said, Amir right back. So that Ryan Jiva at left.
yeah.
Which I didn't dislike the back line. The center back pairing was great.
Seeing them work together, it looks like they've played for over a year together. It was very refreshing and nice to see, comforting, I feel like, as well. And as well as Ryan on the left, I see potential in him for sure, based on his first professional performance there. You know, having confidence come into play.
rainbow flipped that ball and then like passed it. That was great.
The thing I really liked about Alex and Dalton was when Dalton wanted to push up, which he tends to do from the center, to especially get things going. Alex was so comfortable staying back. Well, but Alex is so comfortable staying back, and he's tall, so he was clearing everything. He played cleanup so well, and that's going to help.
He's not as tall as Grant, Michaela, but you know, it's like
Grant heard it from us.
Well, I'm excited to see them work together in those offensive situations when Alex doesn't have a yellow card and Dalton doesn't have to play it safe back there as well, you know, just in case there's a breakaway. It'll be exciting to see the potential of them switching, you know, back and forth, somebody going up on those corners and set pieces.
I noticed that Alex was up for the first one. Dalton was up for the second one. I thought that was thought that was fun. You'd maybe like to see Jay put both of them in there.
If we have a strong defensive back where we feel comfortable, I mean, they're both tall guys. It would be great.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt when JP's up there too for him. You know, I mean, you don't need both center backs when a guy like JP's up there.
I heard someone say last night though, you know, there's something about a team with two forwards under 5'10" who hits lots of crosses into the box. I wasn't going to name names, but
I'll name myself.
I feel like you could at least bring the 6-footers up on the set piece.
If I had one criticism of that game, it was we were serving lots of crosses into the middle of the box with Hugo and Ricky up top and no one else there to get those balls. And a lot of them were going overheads. To go back, I think the other thing about Alex, for him not being a pro yet, you know, the first pro game.
Alex Touche.
For this being his first pro game, his yellow card, there was that not?
No,
I thought it was.
I believe he played 3 minutes last year.
Okay. Well, for having
he played in 3 games for 19 minutes last year.
Okay. So limited pro experience, right? His yellow card was one of the most professional. Yeah, but it was a professional foul. Like everybody on our end was getting really mad at the ref for putting up the yellow card. And I was like, no. That's what you want your center back to do when that guy's trying to run free down the center of the field.
Yeah.
Is pull his arm and twist him down. It was totally what you see in every league across the world with a center back. And
yeah,
for limited experience, that was amazing.
That was an extremely professional foul there. A well-deserved card, but not something that I got mad at him for drawing a card there. Would have left us in a worse position if he hadn't.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Midfield, little bit different. We had JP Skeers, Connor Doyle, Dion Akoff, and Joe Brito.
Yo, Joe.
Yeah.
Why were we not singing? I mean, I like that we're now doing the One Nation Army song because that's classic, but I think we could do that for Joe Brito. Joe Brito.
Damn you.
You guys right?
I feel like I just am so happy Connor's in the middle. He watching him play, he was able to have that experience and that vision on the field that is so needed with this young team. And it was just refreshing to see him and JP, especially since they have chemistry together, be in the middle and be able to facilitate passes at least and get those outside players out and up and doing what they know how to do. You know, it was nice.
I thought Abs Akoff.
I was just about to say Abs Akoff was incredible.
TM. We trademarked that here.
Yeah. It's the official Who Gives a Hoot Media Empire nickname.
I thought as the game went on, he started kind of freelancing a little bit. He would cross the center. He was going to the other side, kind of doubling up with Joe, and it threw Des Moines off quite a bit. And if he gets comfortable enough to do that, where he can kind of roam free, and Ryan gets comfortable playing both ends, that's going to be dangerous. Those two on that same side were dangerous together.
Yes.
Their overlap play was really well done.
I mentioned this to you, Ryan, but it looked like Ryan Jiba was very deliberate in what he was doing. He did not have that like kind of loose and comfortable vibe. He very much had a I've been told to go here when he goes here.
Yes.
Sort of vibe. He did a good job. Like I posted in this, in our chat, like Brian Giba is legit, but he like I felt like his most exciting moments were when he like wasn't thinking like I'm a left back now. J Mims expects me to be here and like a little bit more going for it. And like, he'll come into it, right? Like it was his first pro. He was playing, JUCO in the spring or whatever. I don't know.
First pro start in a position he's never played before.
Yeah.
And you have to think like, I guess I was watching a little bit more because I like to watch the defensive line, and I was watching Ryan slowly gain confidence throughout the game because you had the center defenders encouraging him, go up, keep going up. And I kept hearing that. It's so nice on Morrison. You can actually hear them.
Yeah.
And I heard them say, go, you can go. And he would be like, are you sure? Are you? And they're like, go. So once he has that confidence to make his own decisions like that, it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Do we need to get Riley to cut him a Damia Viadere highlight tape to be like, this is who you're replacing? Like, if you can do half of this, we're all going to be thrilled.
Yeah. Do we think that would intimidate him though? Like, we don't want him to feel like he has those, like he could probably make his own name too. I have that confidence in him.
I think that skill set though is what Jay saw and sees a very similar type player, a lot taller, but a similar type player.
We think we can petition the league to change draws to arm wrestling contests to take advantage of Abs Akoff's clear strength in his upper body? Like, no joke. I don't think I've ever seen a soccer player so ripped.
I would put Ricky or Akoff there.
I think we need to have them on and settle this.
I mean, if we're moving to a video medium, then it's perfect. We'll have the arm wrestling Union Omaha arm wrestling challenge on here.
Perfect. Just the kind of tie-in content the club is looking for.
But to finish up the lineup, started with Hugo and Ricky Rivera up top. As we mentioned, shorter starters up forward. Ricky was with us last season, got injured, wasn't able to play as much, was brought in. I wouldn't say to fill the gap where Evan was out, but that definitely didn't hurt him being brought in there.
He was brought in to be our third forward.
Yeah. There were a couple things happening behind the scenes that made that position open. But
I don't think it was behind the scenes, Luke. I think we all saw what happened. Very diplomatic of you, though. And like at this point, I think even the behind the scenes stuff has been shared in totality.
Fair.
But it's very kind and diplomatic of you. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I will say my biggest worry with the entirety of the game is you could tell the guys who'd never had a pro start before. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of hesitation. And it hurt us a number of times where Hugo had the clearest track to the ball, but was waiting for somebody else to step up. Yep. And there were a lot of missed opportunities that I think he would have, had he gotten his foot on there, we would have been in a scoring position or at least a shot on goal.
I think there was a shot where he was like almost inside the 6, and you could he's like, I'm gonna let it run, and it's like, oh man, no.
There was a couple times in the same type of position where he was looking for a pass, and I said in the second half when we were attacking away from our end, but when they switched, But I had said to Ben a couple times, and Hunter was standing by us too. I said, at this point, just start putting the ball in the frame. The ball, their keeper was good. He had a good wingspan. He was saving some stuff, but he wasn't catching everything. And all you have to do is get that ball to bounce out. And I think that's what Hugo's game could be, is being that poacher, being ready, being right there. The thing I liked about both of them up top was they never looked like they were running out of gas. They were constantly pressing. They were in the face. If there's any criticism I have of Hugo, and it's not a bad thing, is you could tell it was his first pro start because that dude was amped from the beginning. He was going 150 miles an hour for like 30 minutes. And by halftime, you could tell he had been going hard for the entire first half.
One thing I will say is I think it's more so because I think they both did a good job. And again, I just see potential in this team throughout the season on all parts of the field. But Hugo and Ricky are very similar in their playing styles. And I like to see forwards up top that complement each other. So that's something that I'm interested to see of how we switch the lineup up top to complement each other in those, because they're very adamant on taking those touches and seeing the goal, but they both take an extra touch and overthink some of their decisions, which is okay sometimes. But when you have two forwards up top doing the same thing, having the same ideas, I don't know. I just like to see compliments of each other up there.
Who do you think? Because we also saw Noe and Alex Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
So who else out of those that we've seen that we know are on the team would complement their style better?
Go ahead, Luke.
It was interesting, the height change.
Mm-hmm.
Like once we saw how well the crosses were doing later in the game, you bring on Alex and Noe, who were like 6 feet above, and the game definitely became a lot more height there.
I'd like to see Ricky and Noe, because not only do I like the complementary styles, but I also like veteran new player.
Yeah, and Noe was really good as a sub.
But if you have Alex and Hugo, you kind of have a similar thing. We're a guy that's played some pro. You have a new pro, and I think but you also get then those complementary.
Kind of Dr. Reverend Super Producer. A Reverend Dr. Super Producer.
Bruce.
Who?
I think
Alex Bruce.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
I think those two pairs, Ryan, that you had mentioned would be the best matchup that I can think of right now. Obviously, it can change based on performance, but I agree. I think they each would complement each other. Seeing Ricky and Noe together would be very interesting. And I think that could be good. Honestly, seeing Alex and Noe was okay too, but they both have that kind of Tasmanian devil energy feel to them, where they were just kind of running and they were excited, which is great, but they both were running at the same time in different places. So again, chemistry, it'll come.
You can tell it reminds me of high school sports, when all you did was, like, I played high school football. You had 2-a-days all like for 2 weeks in August, and you finally get to that first football game and everybody's like way too amped up. And that's what it reminded me of, was just everybody. And even Connor, who has probably the most experience on that field, he was just jazzed to be playing a competitive game again. And it was great. But the nice part was you get that against a team like Moines, where we don't have to worry as much. I think that might have led to
they were pretty decent.
They were, but it wasn't like Forward on Saturday where you're worried about them knowing our team and our style.
They started Corey Herzog.
I know other Ben, who I thought was going to be my big guys, I told you so, forward signing coming into the offseason. I may have sent a text to James Calaleas and was like, don't respond to this. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm on the record. I'm saying Fitzroy Cummings and Corey Herzog to Union Omaha. And I went over 2.
Correct.
Corey Herzog sucked.
And the way he celebrated that goal, I'm like, I don't want that guy on my team. I want nothing to do with this guy. I don't care that like 2 years ago, he was the leading scorer in USL Championship and Jay has a personal relationship with him. I hate his guts and I never want to see him again.
Now he's going to sign.
I know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that Des Moines brought on people specifically for this game.
That's also what I heard. I don't remember. Did Corey play in the last one? So he was brought on. They had a midfielder.
There were about
like
3.
Riley Kraft was in League One before we were in League One. And their captain, I rewatched like the first 20 minutes of the game last night and looked up a few players, and their captain is like 31 and from Urbana or Urbandale. I don't, whatever urban word is the
urban
suburb there.
Was that Lance Roseboom?
Yes. And they were like, oh, he's in from Miami FC where he was a giant killer in the US Open Cup before. Like going on.
Miami FC, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Ottawa Fury, Austin Aztec FC, Rochester, and DC United. Like,
so you have to think that at the same time that team was good, but they brought on people to benefit themselves, and we still were able to come out with a victory, which is good.
Yeah, because all of our players are pro.
Ben, so did you get to see their first goal again then? Or their goal?
Yeah,
okay.
So it was credited to Corey Herzog, but he didn't score it. The ball was completely over the line. And I took a picture and all this stuff, and then they kept showing it again and again. So the ball off the crossbar, into the goal, off Shido's back, and then he's in the goal and he throws it out with two hands. It lands right at Corey Herzog's feet, and he puts it right back in again. So it was I'll see if I can find it on my phone. But yeah, it was a goal from the very beginning. But credit Shido and his graft. Here we go. Can you guys see that?
Oh yeah. That was definitely over.
Yeah. So whatever.
The other thing that I pointed out yesterday as Ben and I were watching was, and this is Shido. You can tell he is in his start of his third season with us, but you can tell he has pro experience. A lot of those offside kicks and goal kicks that he had, where he gave himself about 4 or 5 extra yards with his little toss out. He just casually flips it out while the ref's not looking, and he would gain 4, 5, 6 yards by doing that, and that's just a veteran goalkeeper move every single time. Plus, we know he's going to put his entire boot behind that thing and launch it.
Can we also give credit to fifth-year senior Grant Mazula, whatever? So it took us a while to find out Grant's name, but then at some point,
Joey?
Yeah. My guess is that's Joey's kit, and then they just didn't have another jersey for Grant because it's 4th division team. So anyway,
this being the goalkeeper of the Menace.
Yes, Menace goalkeeper is out there. We're harassing him. He's ignoring us, and I don't so we started counting early on, because as soon as they scored, the first time the ball goes out, he puts the ball down and he goes to get a freaking drink. And
20 minutes into the game,
I screamed at a stranger tonight, and so I'm a little hot just in general. I'm a little hot this week, and I did not enjoy it. So I viciously started to count, and at some point was like, hey, if you make it to 29 on our count, I'll buy you a beer. And sure enough, next kick, he does everything he can to do it and gets 29, and then he did it again. So good on Grant. If you're listening, find me. I will Venmo you money for 2 beers.
But at halftime, he came over to grab his water bottle, and he was like, "It was really great talking with you guys."
Yeah. He was a good sport about it.
He was a good dude. I liked it.
I think if you're him, you're like, this is cool, right? This is I'm in a pro atmosphere. I'm getting the business from a group of supporters. Also, I'm sure college supporters are much more ruthless and rude and more clever than we were.
No, I don't think they're more clever, actually.
Fair enough. Much less clever. I didn't want to give myself too much credit.
Do we want to talk about our goal? So scored off a set piece. Didn't take long this season. Finally,
yeah.
We don't score many off set pieces, so it was nice to see.
JP got them all. He was like, I'm not going to do anything in the preseason. I'm going to wait.
Dude, that header was amazing too.
That was great.
That was the promise. We thought we were going to see 8 of those last year.
Yeah, he wasn't vertical and parallel to the ground, but it was still a pretty header.
He still owes me one from 28 yards out.
He tried, man. There was a couple he tried from distance. He was going for
Third
him.
season. He's got to get it this time.
He was feeling it after that header, though. He was ready.
He was amped. He was ready for that energy. He knows what he's going to get when he's playing in front of Omaha fans, and like him just riling up the crowd and getting everybody going was absolutely what was needed, especially after dropping down a goal. I think it amped up a lot of the new guys who this is their first game in front of Omaha fans. Not where they're normally going to be playing. It was on a Tuesday night that was cold and rainy, but it was definitely a new experience for them, and something that having one of your most veteran guys on the team be able to do that and just bring that sort of energy out from that entire stadium was just perfect.
I will say,
go ahead.
I will say too that based on the performance, our crosses are great. If we can get ahead on these crosses this season, I mean, the vision is there already, and it kept going. I mean, that was like our tactic was just crosses, and they looked great. So
I felt like
Dion
he was there too.
Yeah,
like hitting the ball at people's feet.
Foots.
It's been an unnecessarily long week for me.
I think Dion was exactly as we talked about when his signing happened, and we all watched his. I mean, he gets his head up quick. He sees where he's going to put that ball. He's good with the ball at his feet. He rarely had a misplaced pass or even just a dribble. There was times where the ball was right on the end line on our end of the first half, and he was keeping it in or trying to get it off the defender. Dion was as advertised.
I would say exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Like of everyone, I was most surprised by him.
Just so you know, the Open Cups Twitter lists Menace's goalkeeper's first name as Victor, so he has like 8 names at this point.
that's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I was super impressed with Dion. I think the reason Joe Brito stood out so much to me was because we were able to see a lot of tape of Dion, because obviously he's been a pro for a while. And so a lot of what he was doing, I was like, yes, I watched that on YouTube. But yeah, Joe, like, I was not expecting. Joe was dancing with the ball at his feet. He's a good dribbler.
And then comes in, and we didn't miss a beat on set pieces.
No. Yeah, he's great.
Hey, Riley. Corner.
Yes.
Who took our set pieces last year?
Damia.
Oh, this is your chance to show your little jersey thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there we go. Yeah. USL
Here's
won.
my hot take on this.
Damia Villadere was taking our corners last
year. Yeah. Here's my hot take on this.
Yeah.
Joe's corners were better.
I don't think it's that hot.
He got more air in them. They were a lot more dangerous.
Not just because of the goal, but just in general, he was finding the bodies in a way that Dami was not consistent on. And we had 9 or 10 corners that game, which is significantly higher than we normally do.
And he took all of them. Usually in a game that long, Jay would have swapped out a couple times.
Well, apparently US Open Cup is going with the old sub rules, and you can only have 3.
No.
You sure? Because both teams only took 3.
No. And we took more than 3.
No, we didn't.
Claudio came on at the end.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Claudio, Yoskar, Noe, Bruce, and Gio came on. Unscored on Fat Mob. Claudio played 1 minute. Yeah. Also, I looked it up at halftime when JR and I were talking about it.
We were having that conversation.
Yeah, because JR was giving me resident writer JR, who we sometimes, especially when it comes to rules and like boring things, we just trust him on it. And
second best expert in our podcast media empire.
Yeah.
You could even say number 1 expert who didn't play professionally.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like JR still got some time in him.
Yeah. Evergreen.
What were you gonna say, Camille?
Back to the crosses in the corners. I am excited personally because I feel like if Dalton gets in there, he has a better chance to actually score. And so I'm excited to see the potential there as well. Fingers crossed that they all count.
Yeah, I mean, you get them in the mixer and there's bodies in there. The ball's going to go in. It doesn't have to look pretty, you know. It's
The last time Dalton scored a goal, I was unemployed. Riley had a different job. And look at us now. Look at us now.
Who would have thought?
Last time he had a goal that counted.
Last time he got a goal that counted was the day of my first interview at my current job.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's good
Last
luck.
goal that, yeah.
Or I'm terrible luck for him. What is that?
I'm gonna say
It's the
no,
same.
Ben. No, you can't be terrible luck because you're fantastic luck
Could
for
be.
me.
I could,
So-
but Riley, what if all of your luck is at the expense of DK's goals?
Oh,
Ooh. Sorry, Riley. I'm gonna wish unemployment on you now.
you take that back.
you take that. The audacity.
I mean, I would give up a little bit of that luck for some DK goals, but not my job. Absolutely not. Sorry, Camille.
He doesn't need luck. It's okay. He's working on it. I think that's one thing that he's really excited about. Seeing him take that set piece at the Kansas City game, I'm like, oh, he wants to score. Like we're gonna see it.
I'm sure he's tired of us making fun of him for it.
Yeah, probably secretly, even though he just laughs and smiles. Yeah.
Motivation. We're providing ample motivation.
Right.
One might say bulletin board material.
We're good at that on this podcast.
Yeah, well known.
You're good at that.
Speaking of, do we need to give anything out before? Well, I'm not. Okay, so we had 5 subs. We haven't talked about them. We had between 3 and 5 subs. For sure, we saw Noe Meza, Alex Bruce, and
Gio.
Gio.
We'll call him Gio.
Gio.
Giovanni.
Yeah.
Who I just found out is apparently going to be offering some local coaching gigs around our sessions around. So if you got kids who are looking for it, Gio's going to be out there. So keep an eye on his socials.
We should be a marketplace. Well, this is neither here nor there. We talk about this later. I've got a good idea for how we can help employ the players and the families of players. But
I mean,
later.
There's 25 openings at my current job, at my current work. So yeah, send them my way.
Yeah. I have plans that benefit me as well, but not like that.
Did we see Yoskar? I don't.
He was out.
That was a time waste sub.
Yeah, it was a time waste sub. I don't think he played meaningful minutes.
Yeah, we had 3 minutes of stoppage time and we subbed him on at the 90th.
Maybe he just warmed up and I thought he was coming on.
I think he just warmed up because he kept running even after the first couple subs, and I was like, well, maybe they'll throw Yoskar on, and then they threw Gio on at the end, which is where I would have assumed you throw Yoskar on.
Well,
Claudio
Gio came in.
Let's talk about these first 3. No, but let's talk about these first 3.
Noe did not look like a first professional game.
No.
He looked good on the ball. Alex Bruce looked good on the ball.
Super sub Noe Meza.
I think he's going to be a starter.
Starter.
He's a starter.
I think him and Ricky start on Saturday.
Good.
I see it. Potential.
Yeah.
I think Hugo's a better super sub because of his pace and because he likes to press. That's a guy you bring on in the 75th, 80th minute when you're chasing.
That's sort of a Ricky Rivera role, if you will.
No, Jay did what Jay always does. He plays guys against their old teams. And Hugo was one of the best players for the Menace last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, their fans even yelled at him and he went down and like said hi to him after the match.
He tweeted about it today. It was clearly meaningful to him.
Yeah. And I convinced that's the reason why he started over either Noe or Alex Bruce.
Yeah.
I think Noe with Ricky, as we saw at Kansas City, is going to be a very, very strong, and just the way that they both have, they're fitting more. They're just seem so much more comfortable. It is going to be very good there. So other subs that or Gio coming on. He was bringing a lot of good energy into the midfield.
Yes.
Like just not necessarily outshining it. So who did he come on for? He come on for Dion?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Like what wasn't outshining what Dion was doing, but was providing a lot of the same energy and just getting in the right spot at the right time. His off the ball movement looked very good. Definitely something that he played at Loudon last year when Loudon was absolute dog shit. So I think this is a team that he's going to shine for.
Gio came on for Joe Brito.
For Joe, okay. Well, so
for Big Joe.
Here's the thing, though. I think that Gio, though, is what we've been talking about with needing depth subs, of a guy that just needs to learn how to get involved in the game, learn the pro style, do all that stuff, that he can come on for Joe or come on for Dion or come in, get 15, 20 minutes and work his way into the team a little bit more. But we're not dropping in quality when he comes on. I thought that was one of our concerns last year, right? What subs are coming on to improve the team?
Yeah. Why is Jay making no subs? Well, because I think he may have even said as much off the record to, well, never mind. Let's just
wasn't our first sub in the 65th minute last night?
Yeah.
Because I looked at
10
Ben
minutes
and I
earlier
said,
than we had negotiated an agreement about.
I looked at Ben and I was like, Jay sub before the 75th minute. This is not normal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And in a close game, no less.
Yeah.
Going back to Gio, though, I thought his direct running was exhilarating. I thought his final touch was not quite there. And I don't know if that's, is he nervous or what? I can't speak to the why on that, but I think and one of the last things I remember as I was getting ready to bolt was really exciting link up play between him and Ryan Jiva. Really.
And that was
exciting.
when Ryan was becoming more confident as well.
Yes.
I mean, it's great to see.
And Gabe came on. Gabriel came on last couple minutes.
Big Claudio
didn't get a whole lot on the ball, but this is the first time we've seen them play competitively. Of the new signings, how many do you think are going to be starters this year versus how many of them are year two?
So five players started and made their UO debuts, and I don't remember exactly how many, but I got the goods. Give me a second.
I think Joe Brito reminds me of Devin in the sense of it's a guy that we knew a little bit more about Joe than we did Devin when Devin came to us in 20, but I don't know that it was somebody that everybody's like, this guy's going to be a day one starter. I think Joe's going to be very similar to that. He's going to just take that spot by storm.
5 starters, 4 subs in that game were new players for us.
Of the new to the team starters, Alex Touche, Ryan Jiba, Joe Brito, Abs Akoff, and Hugo Kamatani.
Yep.
I think the first 4 I think are starters.
Worth noting that Joe Brito and Ryan Jiba and Hugo Kamatani, this is their first professional match.
I think that Joe, I think Hugo was what you said, Luke. He's playing against his former team. Let's throw him out there. Let's get him his professional debut. I think that if it was a league match, I think it's Noe instead. I think that's probably who you're starting. So I think those other 4, though, I think you see those other 4 starting on Saturday at Madison.
I'm interested to see Isaac play as well. He wasn't on the bench, so I'm interested.
He's probably we don't have enough guys to not have everybody on the bench. He probably is. And hopefully he did not pick one up in warmups, because I think when that goal bounced in off the crossbar, I said to Ryan, this place is probably a profanity, probably another one cursed for us. I mean, like, that game against Tucson was so bad. And the other thing that was just unbelievable was, we never talked about it. We had 2 players get injured in the warm-up, like, that significantly affected their season.
Mhm.
Like, both Ricky and Ethan got hurt in warm-ups. I saw you look up there, Luke. We don't have to talk about it.
We'll talk about it when he's on the pod sometime, Luke.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just say certain former players objected to certain characterizations of them that were made in the pod, and that Luke and I are going to work out a bet offline about it, because that'll be fun.
I mean, that game should be over by now, right?
Yeah, I went to watch the UO Cup, Greg Hurst versus Sebas, but
and Sam Howard.
Greg is not.
Sam Howard didn't start in goal.
Yeah, and Greg didn't start either. So
Greg subbed on though.
Already?
Yeah.
I have been paying attention to
I track Greg on Thought Mob.
Nice. I have been paying more attention to this call during this piece, but
so just to wrap this up, since we still have to preview Madison, things to improve.
Scoring
Confidence.
goals.
Yeah. We didn't talk about our game-winning goal.
Hey, look, anytime you can get own goal
header
on your side, you
here's the thing. If Connor's serving balls like that up and our guys get onto those, they're going in just like it did with that center back, put it into his own net. That was a hell of a ball.
Full credit to the ball.
No, Riley and I were down there, and like that header was not going anywhere except in goal. Like, we have to sign number 4.
Connor Doyle does not want to score a goal. He's against it. I don't know why. I don't know what scoring goals did to him, but he only is interested in assists. And he was like, you know what? I can do this thing. And he looped that ball in perfectly right off the guy's head. 40 checks.
That ball, like, even if the defender hadn't touched it, it would have been a goal as well. Like, that was just the perfect ball that the defender could do nothing but just put it in the back of his own net.
Oh yeah.
It was beautiful.
Ryan, did you have anything to add of what are the things we need to improve on?
I mean, I agree with Camille. I think that if we have somebody up top that, besides JP running into the box, but if we have somebody else up top like Noe or Alex Bruce that are going for those balls, for those crosses, we're going to be a lot more dangerous. It just looked really funny with us crossing so much with 2 guys that were 5'11" or shorter. And even when the ball would go over and then Dion's on the other wing because Joe was crossing it, it would go over Dion's head too because he's not very tall either. So
don't need to be tall when you're strong.
I know Jay has a system. I know Jay has a thing that you do, but there's also things that, like,
jam the ball in the box as much as possible.
Yeah. But you have to be tactically aware too. Like, okay, when you have 2 forwards that are 5'10", 5'11", and aren't jumpers. I mean, neither of those guys looked like they were getting up for those balls either. Like, that's maybe the time that we find a different way to get the ball into the box. And Joe was trying.
I would like to see the ball get played back to JP and Connor during the season as well, because they were always there during the game.
Yeah.
I think a lot of wing play, but we have a lot of players who can play more direct. I wonder if a lot of it is, once again, we've built a counterattacking team and we're never going to be able to play a counterattacking game against a, literally a semi-pro side.
Yeah.
Look at this segue. What do you think we'll see against Madison, though? A fully professional team, even though they took most of their players from NISA and leagues that you only knew existed in a theoretical sense.
So they played their US Open Cup game tonight. We're
Yeah.
recording this on Wednesday, let's say 6th.
The
Yes,
sixth.
sir. 6th.
It's funny.
The game has been over for over an hour now,
Yep.
and they still don't know. Mob still does not know who scored their second goal. So not sure how well that bodes, but
A guy named Marijo, C. Marijo, and Bartman scored a goal for them as well.
The guy that messed up the Cubs World Series.
Simpsons,
I know, very
parody
weird that
character.
he's playing soccer. Especially,
Who did they play, Luke?
Cleveland SC,
Oh, okay.
NPSL team or something like that.
oh, this
one of
is they got a guy who played 2 seasons at the guy who scored their second goal played 2 seasons at Greenville Triumph. Yet Cesar Marijo, I think he was on the field. Was he last seen getting scored all over by Union Omaha?
I doubt it.
Well, interesting question there is he going to do the typical Greenville player thing of go to Madison for a year, then be like, this is absolutely horrible, and try and go back?
And not thank Madison.
Or
thank
leave
Madison.
and not thank Madison, just thank Greenville. Yeah.
864 for life or whatever it is.
I think the thing that always scares me about Madison, and this is something we talked about, but Ben and I did that first preview pod last year when the first Madison match, is we rarely play, like, we have not played Madison where it's been the complete control of the game.
Oh,
right?
well said. I was going to say
a lot of draws, a loss. I mean, it's stuff like that where their style, at least the style they've played in the past. Now they have a new coach, so who knows what they look like. Although with all the same assistants, maybe nothing changes for them. But their style in the past was one of those things that it didn't work well with what we like to do with the counterattack. You know, they muddy up the midfield. They don't let the ball get going. It's a lot of that stuff. The one thing I'll say that was very encouraging, and this is no knock on Evan or Greg from last year, but the speed up top that we have now this season was very, very apparent in the game last night. And that's why I think Hugo's
we did not appreciate the greatest strike partnership in all of League One history enough when we had it last year. That was my takeaway from this first game.
I agree, but I think I think Hugo's a super sub because the center backs are tired. You know, those guys are tired, and you get a guy like Hugo on a counterattack, especially in Warner Park, even at Breeze Stevens, and that ball gets knocked over the top like it was last night. Hugo was chasing a lot of those down. Number 2 for Des Moines, that dude was fast, and that guy cleaned up a lot for them on those long balls because he stayed back and he was able to recover really quickly. But that style doesn't always work in USL.
So if tonight's Fought Mob is to be believed for Madison, they played a 3-5-2. We're not going to change from a 4-4-2 because we're just not going to change from a 4-4-2.
Yeah, no one came and talked to me about it.
You had your chance, folks. You had your chance.
I'm still available for conversation. I'll probably be less salty than I was.
So Breno in goal. They won 3-0 over Cleveland SC, who has nobody I recognize or even like just have something that clicks that I should know something about them.
Here's the thing. We played, I know the team is different for Des Moines and our team's a lot different, but we played a team that won the USL 2 national championship. They're playing an NPSL team that no one's ever heard of. They should be winning 3-0. And shouldn't be a surprise that we had the type of match we had with Des Moines.
Well, and let's be clear too, it was a fairly lucky, fluky goal that they scored early on.
Yeah.
The easiest comparison Des Moines to where they're at is Des Moines is a consistent powerhouse. It has the clout to call on players who are free agents to step in.
Yeah, Corey Herzog is showing up for his 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
especially
that-
knowing that they're about to start a championship team in a couple years.
But I think also the difference we have is as we were discussing, we didn't start our starting lineup or 100% of our starting lineup against Des Moines.
Madison
Looking
played
at-
the league match already, right?
Madison played a league match already
At chat.
At chat, which they tied in like the 90th minute.
Oh, they chatted chat.
They chatted chat.
They really did. It's like 90 plus 5.
Yeah, which only a Chattanooga Madison game would have like 18 minutes of stoppage time.
What's the old sports cliche? What's the old sports cliche?
Do you think that the folks who scheduled that game were really disappointed when Aaron Malloy transferred himself away and their their signature rivalry match from settling the beef from last year just vanished?
Went away. Right.
As far as I know, there were no racial slurs tossed around at that match.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
Improvement
let's be real.
on 2021.
But for real, what is the oldest sports cliche? You make your
Defense
most
wins
improvement.
championships?
No, you make your most improvement from game 1 to game 2. Who already has played a professional game or a competitive game this season?
So you're saying
Madison, right? Like that's the thing though. Des Moines already had played a competitive game. Madison already played a competitive game. This was our first competitive game of the season. Whether it was our actual starting lineup or not, I think we're going to see a huge improvement on Saturday because these guys have gotten that out of their system. They got the first competitive match out of the way.
Well, one of their starting strikers for Madison, Audie Jepson, who played for St. Louis 2 years ago and hasn't played for a club since.
And this guy who's started every minute of every game for them so far this season was last seen in Greenville, sitting on the bench for 90 minutes while they got their behinds handed to them in the USL Championship game.
Yeah.
By who?
So,
Union Omaha.
Of course.
Yeah.
Some team in Nebraska.
It just feels good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm really not seeing anything in their lineup that makes me too worried, especially playing 3 games in 7 days with them. Granted, 2 of them are home, but we've talked about their facilities before. That's not necessarily an advantage for recovery.
Right.
Like they'd probably do better in a hotel gym than what they have for their players.
One thing that does
Depends on the hotel. Sorry.
One thing, it's okay. One thing that does concern me is based on, I mean, obviously how many new players we have and it being the first USL League One game at Madison, pregame jitters, and how that may have an effect on our players, not necessarily who we're playing against, so having that and just knowing there's going to be an increase of fans from that Des Moines Menace game. So it's going to be a little
who
bit
don't
more.
like them, it's going to go through the roof.
I got that covered.
I'm not too worried. I'm not, the last time I recall, we lost to Madison. We didn't lose again. We scored 1 million goals. We got a couple of stars, 1 star, 2 trophies. I don't know how it went. But, the last time I heard, they were writing like 2,000 word articles about how we should have seen it coming because we were so disrespectful to them. So like they could be, Madison fans could be fired up for this game.
Go ahead, Camille.
No, I insist.
Are you guys glad we're on video?
I do think though, Madison is a very difficult place to play in. It's the closest to a hostile environment in League One. I think Fuego is going to have similarly. I didn't get a chance to watch.
It was nuts. I put it on last night. It was a full stadium. Only one I've seen. I've watched half of those games.
That's not even where they're going to be playing, and that was a Tuesday night. So I think this being an early April game, Forward Madison has been struggling the past 2 years. Not going to see quite as crazy a draw. and bringing up 30 to 40 Omaha fans who are going to be placed right near where the guys are coming out from locker rooms or the trailers or whatever Madison's using this year.
Houses.
Hey man, when you have a historic minor league baseball stadium and you have the chance to play ultimate frisbee at the highest level in the United States in that stadium, and you need to fill a couple of extra days, soccer is a great choice. And if you don't have facilities,
it also has football lines.
Third division soccer, I don't know what to tell you.
It currently has football lines as well.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I sound like a pessimist. This is very rare, but also this is the only game where we drive. And so coming off of that road trip is something that, I mean, maybe from having college players used to those road trips, maybe it's something that we don't have to
There's that optimism.
Consider.
There's the optimism.
Maybe it's something we're used to. I don't know, but it is just these things to consider. Madison being a heavy fan base. Honestly, I mean, maybe they'll feel the pressure of our fans being there and having to prove themselves. You never know what's going on in the mind, and based on these new professionals,
Camille, it's Lent. They gave up sweets for Lent. They're not that heavy of a fan base, right?
Oh, that's a good one. I couldn't figure out a way to do it. I was like,
it's Wisconsin. They gave up cheese curds.
Podcast, but that was too heavy. That was the right tone, Luke. That was good.
No, I do think it's always a challenging place to play. The field itself is one of the worst in the league. Just the turf.
Things. It's turf.
Yeah, and that may be better right now than if they had a grass pitch for early. I'm trying to see what the weather's going to be up there so I can pack. But
cold.
Yeah.
They'll probably stretch weather for.
It's going to be a high of 44, but there's going to be snow on Friday.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll all benefit them. Maybe it'll get them fired up. Maybe the fans will make them mad. Maybe they'll be pissed off. It could go either way. But
they're going to play this podcast for their players because their assistant coaches listen, and they're going to put it on a bulletin board about how we think their fans aren't going to be there, and then we're going to get articles written about us. And once again, we will be the reason why they perform well against Union Omaha. It's not their players' reason. It's not the coach that motivates them.
No,
it's who gives a hoot.
It's not practicing running around like an airplane. It's not that.
It's because we do. We give a hoot. We motivate them as well as our own platoon.
I think on the other side, look, this is a new team that, it feels like they may be a little fragile in one way or the other. We're providing them a cloak and a shield to go up there, and if they do badly, it's our fault because we're here talking shit, and Madison's gonna have no choice but to play their best game out of the next 10 or 15, like they did the last time we met them.
And I mean, just seeing the players react to the fans at the end of the game was so great. Just knowing we have supporters here, and just seeing that it's encouraging. And I mean, if they listen to this podcast, it's also encouraging, I think, knowing that they're relevant and they're able to make a difference and have an influence.
Yeah. So it is encouraging. There's 4 amateurs and, 1 expert talking about them for a tight 75.
Well, I think like we finished up with or started with the breakdown of the Open Cup game. What do we think the starting lineup is going to be? We've already kind of talked about it, but I'm going to put this one out first.
Oh, here goes. Hot take.
I think Rashid's going to be in goal.
Spicy.
What?
Yeah, I'm here for those hot takes after you're an hour and in, half our listeners aren't listening anymore. Got to bring in that spice.
If they survive the 3.5 hour podcast, they're still in on this one.
How many games? Record listenership for that.
Yeah.
How?
I think it was a lot of people starting it over again.
Right. I've listened to it in 6 parts, that sort of thing. What or how many games into the season before Kevin gets his first start?
4.
Yeah, 5.
Okay,
Who's our 5th game?
4.
Well, into the season, or are we including Open Cup?
Including Open Cup.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4.
Because, one thing that we often complain about is when people compare our 3rd division United States soccer team to their European Super League club. But usually, second string goalkeepers get a starting run in the cup competition. Not the case here.
Well, I think too, we are reminiscent of, if you watch Big Cup, the Pokal in Germany, you watch the FA Cup in England. When those lower division teams are playing, they're putting out their best lineup every time because they got to swing.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
a great
fences.
point. That's a great
I
point.
mean, being a 3rd division team, it doesn't shock me. Plus, being our first competitive match, Shido needed those minutes. He needed that time to have live, be in a live game before going down or going up to Madison.
Scunthorpe United isn't out there rolling out their
right. They're not rolling out their 2nd or 3rd keeper. I mean, that's just not how they roll. Luke,
oh, never mind. They're in EFL League 2 right now. Never mind.
I think Alex and Dalton, because they worked well together. I think you keep that pairing and let them continue to build that.
Just remember, you have to say last names. We have 2 Alexes.
Well, if anybody thinks Alex Bruce is starting at center back, we are going to have some issues.
That's what
This
I
is
was
Jay
wondering.
Mims.
Did you mean Alex Bruce?
Yeah. See, and I can't yell Touche and Bruce because they tell
Bruce and Touche.
This is Jay Mims. Like, I'm just saying, it wouldn't be the craziest thing for him to take a forward and be like, you play defense now.
I think
for Luke's least favorite player of all time, Didier Drogba.
I think Dalton and Touche start in the center at center backs, and I think Ryan probably is still starting at left back. I think that Jay wants him there, and he's gonna play him there until he can't.
And Jay almost never rotates the back line.
Yeah,
unless he has to.
I think we see Isaac. I mean, whatever was keeping him out of being even on the bench. Like, I feel like we would have gotten some sort of rumbling if it were injury enough that he's not even on the bench. Because Jay will keep a guy who's taken a knock on the bench just because we never have more than 20 players on a roster.
Yeah, I mean, if Isaac, go ahead, Camille.
Considering that we had a center back on the bench and Isaac not on the bench, it's interesting to me. So I think it'd be exciting to see him start. I don't know, but that's kind of my
prediction. Play exclusively center back, Gabe.
Big G. He also could play right back.
Yeah, and I mean, when he subbed in, we saw him as that right center back, so that makes sense as well.
I think if Isaac is available, Isaac starts. I think Connor and JP are still in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Cornell educated JP is now one of the veterans here. You know, he's an old man now.
I will say Ivy educated, because
Ivy League.
As you get Cornell's definitely in the bottom half of the Ivies, and so he gets that upper tier bump.
No, but he's got to do it like Andy on The Office. He's got to own it every time.
He scores that 28-yard goal, he'll be Ivy educated.
He's got to do the bear crawl.
Alex Touche, also Ivy educated.
We smart players.
Man.
Also, I would argue a school in the bottom half of the rankings of the Ivy League.
Out of our starting 11, if Isaac's available, Isaac replaces Amir. And I think Noe starts for Hugo. Otherwise, I don't know that I changed that starting 11 too much.
I don't know. I like the way Gio was playing. I could see him starting in place of Dion. Although Dion's been playing in Iceland, which, although it's not as cold as Greenland, is still not the warmest place in the world. So Wisconsin could be pretty similar there.
I just I think part of it with your first league match is having as many veterans on the field as you can, just veterans of soccer in general, even if they haven't played the league. And I think that's something he's really smart on the ball. And to have that against Madison, and if they're going to play anywhere similar defensively that they've played in the past, and the way that they like to make things look dirty and ugly, and I don't mean dirty like they cheat, just they like to mess things up. I think that Dion's the kind of person you want in there, and you bring Gio on, even in the 70th minute or whatever, give Dion a spell.
Now, here's the other part of the midfield that I think is possible to see different. So throw Chivani in there. And who does Chivani pull off? Do we slide JP up into a position? Joe has shown that he's a fantastic at taking corners, which is something I'd want to keep out there. You're not taking Connor off because he's got the armband. So that's either JP or Dion making way for Chivani.
If you take off Dion, you almost have to push Connor out wide then.
Yeah. Which isn't something we haven't seen.
Don't. I like him in the center, though. I'm with Camille. Yeah. Keep him in the center.
I know he's able to do it, but I just, based on his performances in the middle, I feel like we need him there. So I'm hoping.
To me, the Connor moving outside is late in a match when you're trying to protect your lead and you want somebody outside that's more defensive. You move him outside and bring in somebody like Chivani to help shore up the defense in the middle too. And then you have three guys that are playing in the midfield that are defensive minded or can be more defensive minded. That's when I like Connor going outside. If we have to start Connor outside against Madison, something's wrong. I truly believe that. Yeah. I would take them starting Gio in his first professional start over them moving Connor out.
No, Gio's had professional starts.
Well, okay, first professional start for us. How's that sound? First UO start.
Yeah. Remember, dog shit team that he played for last year.
See, they're professional. I wasn't aware of this.
They're even still in the championship this year.
Yeah. That's why we need pro rel, damn it.
Yes.
But yeah, Noe, I think being switched out for Hugo, that adds some of the height there. Him and Ricky, I think, work well together from what little bit we've seen.
Guys, I just tweeted tweeted my Ivy League prestige rankings. So, they're out there now.
Also update, NoCo just scored in the first period of extra time. They're up 1-0 over the Switchbacks right now. So.
In Switchbacks, beautiful yet empty stadium.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, since we technically are on the record, both audio and visual here, I will say I think the only two changes we see are Isaac if he's available, and I think Noe's in for Hugo. Otherwise, I think Jay, who does not like to mess with his lineup as far as starters, Mims. I think those are the only two things I see changing.
Yeah.
Is that his full name?
Yeah. Jay, I'm growing my beard back out and don't like to change my starting lineup, Mims.
I think with that we're in a good position to take it to a Madison team that's still much like us, even more so than us, rebuilding. They have very few carryovers from last year. It's an entirely new identity, which might make it easier, but ultimately I think it's going to be their fans don't have the connection with a player like Turbo that they did. It's new to their fans. It's new to the players. They're not as bought in on that whole level as it would be with last year's side or years before side.
And I think the buy-in from our fans, even yesterday, even though the crowd wasn't probably as large as we'd want it to be, but the buy-in from the people that came back, even though it's a new team, was we won a championship. And I think one thing that's hard is when you don't have the players that you're connected to still on the team, and your team hasn't been finishing in playoff spots or playing well the previous seasons, that's where apathy of some level sets in. And that's where I think if it's cold and it just snowed the day before, and there's people that are like, I'm not really bought in right now because I don't know anybody on this team, and we haven't been good.
Nobody knows anybody on this team.
Yeah. People aren't going to show up. I mean, that's just it would happen to us too if we finished 7th last year, 9th, wherever we would end up.
I mean,
if
we won the league last year, and like, you know, we're still out there having to like identify our new players to each other last night.
Well, I think that's part of it is the team has not been great with that. Like, I will say a team that has done extremely well with identifying new signings is Tormenta. They've been getting a welcome video from every single one of the players of like how I'm excited here. We did that pronunciation for Gio.
We did it for a couple other players too. But I think J Mims just doesn't want to give too much away.
I think it's a silent but deadly thing, definitely.
Yeah.
If opposing coaches don't even know how to pronounce the players' names properly, how can they game plan?
I mean, to be fair, our local media can't pronounce our 3-year starter type guys' names correctly. So
don't worry, Ross Davenport can't pronounce anybody's name correctly.
He can't even identify them correctly.
This year.
All right. I think it's safe to say we're all really excited for the season to get started. The draw for next Open Cup round should be on Friday.
Yep.
So we should know who we're facing in the next round. Friday, probably latest Saturday. So we'll try and get a preview out for that on the blog here near future.
If it's really insane, we might have to do instant reaction.
I do have.
Sorry.
I was say I do have a quick question for Camille. And this is an important one because we are at opposite ends of the spectrum on this.
Nope, sorry. Breaking news: Evan Conway scored.
Woo! He is like, I just put together Owls Away today, and like, you know, I had heard concerns. I didn't necessarily know if I believed them or not, but basically, since in the last 2 weeks, he scored 2 goals and had an assist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Riley, continue your question for Camille.
Did what Fuego did yesterday change your opinion about them as a team at all?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, I might have miscalculated a little bit.
Oh man, I'm not ready to admit it. I got asked by a listener after the first win, do you wish to reconsider? And I said, no, not yet.
The first win, me either. The first win, because I thought that was against Greenville, right?
Greenville on the road at the start of the season.
Their defense didn't look good, first of all.
Greenville wasn't on the road.
They weren't. It was early legacy early.
Yeah, they were at the high school stadium that they play in.
The high school college stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just seeing Greenville's performance and how their defense was struggling, and apparently there was opportunities for both sides, less so Fuego, and how they were able to finish. I was like, maybe it's a lucky game. Maybe Greenville was a little bit weak, but second game, you know, I might have miscalculated.
Yeah, I put on the game last night and saw the people in the stands and that they were up 4-0 on a championship side. I said, I am now more concerned that I'm wrong than I was before.
I will say a relatively trash championship side, though.
Yeah, they are trash. However, they're drawing 3,000 fans on a Tuesday to a stadium that they don't normally play in.
To a competition where no one else has drawn like 300.
I don't want
to. Richmond drew 4,000 for their home opener.
Good.
I don't want to. But I don't want to.
I meant the cup. I meant the cup.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to take away from Fuego, but it's a little different when you're playing a team that hasn't been playing well at their level. I mean, Jay talks about it all the time. The difference between League One and Championship isn't that great. But when El Paso is one of those teams that if we had Pro Rel, they would have been down at the bottom. They would have been fighting to stay up type team. That's just who they are.
Well, I like that this is turning into a Is Fuego Good pod.
I'll just say this: last year, my dark horse team was Tucson,
and you went through some dark times where some people mocked you and others for picking them highly.
And granted, we kicked their ass handily in the playoffs, but they were in the playoffs, unlike some other teams that other people picked higher than them.
I think I picked Fuego pretty high.
I think you and I were the outliers. I think I picked them third.
Yeah,
I picked them playoff. I mean, I think they're going to make the playoff.
Someone had him second. Someone had him 11th. I had him 10th.
I still think, okay, maybe they won't be last, but I still think, first of all, where they're located, what else do you do besides watching soccer? Second, it's different. I don't know. They haven't.
You're not from that part of California, then?
Oh no, I'm not. I visited many times.
She was so offended.
That's why you have to get the video
right now. That just like eye roll with it. Perfect.
That was the most California thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, I don't know. I still think there's a lot that they have to face to be able to, any of the new teams. I've said it multiple times. There's just a lot. There's a lot that they're going to have to go through. And so maybe not calculating them as last, but we'll see.
Well, I think that's fair to say that Camille is starting to shake on her Fuego will win wooden spoon. Ben's still not convinced that they'll be okay. Ryan is fully waffler, flip-flopper, pancaker. No, bacon that has not been cooked thoroughly.
And I'd like to go fully on record to say that I am the number one Fuego fan on this podcast.
It's fully acceptable to be a waffler on other teams 2 games into the season.
No, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my convictions.
All right. So we're all here, and I'm not sure how well this is going to go over Zoom, because Zoom kind of blocks you out when you start talking at the same time. But who gives a hoot?
We do. That still sucked.